We turn over to chapter 15. In chapter 15, Jesus is surrounded by the despised, by the religious outcast. And it troubles the Pharisees, and in fact, it infuriates them. This is what chapter 15, verse 1 and 2 say. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near Jesus to listen to him. And so those who need him were open to him. And both the Pharisees and the scribes began to complain, saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." You can't accuse most of us. You can't accuse most of us of being interested in people who don't know Jesus. In fact, we try to keep our families, our kids, we try to corral them in and we try to keep everybody at arm's distance that isn't like us. We homeschooled our kids. Well, I say we did. Jalen did 99.9% of it from kindergarten through graduation. Every Friday there would be a large, when we were in Florida, a large home group gathering at our house. And I mean, we'd be inundated. You know, a lot of kids, a lot of families. Every Friday afternoon was the time for them to get together and for the ladies to enjoy fellowshipping together and the children to play we had a big backyard in Florida for them to play in the backyard. And some of them really thought ill of us because we felt like that we needed to be involved in the community. So our kids would play Little League. They'd be in gymnastics. They'd play piano and do piano recitals. So they would think, well, you're endangering the lives of your children. We would try to share, no, we were just trying to be faithful to the Bible. That Jesus got criticized because he would eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners. And so he tells three parables to explain why. He tells a parable about a lost sheep, a parable about a lost coin, and a parable about a lost son. And these three parables are intended to explain why he eats with irreligious people, why he associates with people that are unlike himself. Well, everybody was unlike Jesus, even the religious elite. They just didn't know it. And Jesus said in verse 7, "I tell you that in the same way there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who have no need of repentance." Now, he says that tongue-in-cheek because there's no person who is so righteous that he doesn't need God, that he doesn't need to be saved by Jesus. In fact, Paul said there's none righteous, no, not one. But you know, there's nothing you can do for a sick person that refuses to acknowledge they're sick. You can say, "You've got cancer." "No, I don't. I feel fine. Here's the x-rays." "You've got a tumor." "I don't care what it says. I feel just fine." "You need surgery and you need treatment on that, on the residual effects of that tumor. What might be left behind." "I'm sorry. I feel fine. I'm not sick." What can you do for a person like that? Well, really, you can't do anything. That's the story of the prodigal son at the end of the chapter. There's two sons. One is self-righteous. One is unwilling to admit that he has a need. The other is a son that goes off and he consorts with the very worst of people. The parable, the story leaves it to our imagination as to the kinds of things he did and the places he went. And in the story, blessed be the name of the Lord, he returns to his father, and his father receives him back into the family and puts a coat on him and gives him shoes and puts a ring on his finger, which is a sign of significance and authority. And the older brother, who represents the religious leader, they're just very put out with their father. And the father says to his older son, "But we had to celebrate and rejoice, because this brother of yours was dead and has begun to live, and was lost and has been found." And then Jesus leaves the parable world and he says, "In the same way, I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents."